Alright, so we're going to go through each set this year. I'm going to have a quick summary of it where I rank it and what I give it in terms of stuff. And then I'm going to pick a card for Niv for Pioneer that I tried or enjoyed, and then maybe something I want to experiment with. So, let's start off with 2025. We revved it up with Aether Drift. And yeah, I'm going to just summarize this set as pretty disappointing. I was excited for another mechanic like Start Your Engines that was another effect like the Initiative or Monarch that we have to track, but the payoffs for it were way too safe and it wasn't very pushed. I was very disappointed with the Gear Hulks that came through. I really wanted to try them, but there was only like two. One that really clunked out, and then a few others that were like interesting, but they felt less pushed than the old Gear Hulks. But yeah, so let's talk about my picks from this one. It wasn't a pick from for Niv decks, but Ketramos, the New Dawn, was very cool. He's an honorable mention here. He was definitely sparked some new decks, some new creations. He was a very cool idea to build around. For me though, the card I would talk about here most would be Explosive Getaway, which was a 4 damage board wipe that also flickered a creature. I thought this was going to be pretty good as a one-off inclusion in Niv, but it fell flat. There was so many times where people just had bigger stuff by the fact we got to turn 5. 5 mana, I honestly preferred Time Wipe, so yeah, it was a bit of a disappointment, but definitely one thing. And for the honorable try, I think the Gear Hulks, either Oil Deep Gear Hulk or the Riptide Gear Hulk, these are things I really wanted to experiment with, but honestly, they didn't do enough. The 4 mana and 5 mana slots in Niv are so competitive that really didn't see play. So yeah, Aether Drift, I'm gonna give it a C overall. Fell short of expectations, not too great. Right, Tarkir Dragonstorm. So overall, this was very light on 2-color cards because this was a 3-color theme set, and it delivered a lot of spice. There was a lot of fun here. There was things that people really enjoyed. For the card I will pick here, I definitely think that Windcrag Siege became one of my favorites. It doesn't see play in my main rank deck, but I still play it in my best of 1 lists for fun. A 3-mana enchantment that also gives you a 1/1 lifelinker every turn was kind of cool. It was the kind of cost I want to. Like, I love Outlaw's Merriment. I like this being a bit cheaper and doing it. But honestly, the one I have to pick, and it's going to sound insane because it's not actually a 2-colored card, is Rakshasha's Bargain. This was a powerhouse you saw in many decks. In beanless Niv decks, I think this is an auto 4 of include. This card was so good. I honestly cut it just because I've cut back on the beans lists in general, but yeah, this was my pick for the best card from the set for Niv, which feels really bad for it being a lower card in general. But honestly, for honorable mention / one I think we really should perhaps also look is Auroral Procession. 2 mana, return any card from your graveyard to your hand. I think this is a very good card that you shouldn't sleep on. I don't think it'll be a staple everywhere, but it's definitely something that I think people are going to chase more and more, and it's going to be an uncommon that'll climb. But overall, I would give Tarkir Dragonstorm a B+. I really enjoyed the set. It didn't go fully A for me because it stuck to its theme of 3 colors, so it wasn't much for me to chew on this year. Next, we're going to talk about Final Fantasy, which is my set of the year. Spoiler, I really love this set. The themes were all a bit all over the place, but as a huge Final Fantasy fan, I am kind of coded here with the things. Honestly, there were so many good things to choose from here. A lot of legends, a lot of fun. I would say that my pick for the choice of the top card for Niv list here was definitely Joshua the Phoenix Dominant. I've been very impressed with Joshua. He's basically I've replaced him as kind of like a Kiki Jiki Fable the Mirror Breaker effect. Very rarely do we fully flip him, but a 4/4 lifelinker that also gains you stuff, he's really good. I definitely think he's definitely one to consider. I mean, honestly, we've also got to give a shout out to VV just being broken in general. I don't think he sees playing Niv as much as people would want, should see. But yeah, And honestly, one I think that maybe was most disappointed with, or maybe should experiment with more, was Garland. I really thought this was going to be like the Dragon Rage channeler of Pioneer. It literally has the Dragon Rage Channeler Surveil 1 effect on its turn, and it has Graveyard Resiliency. I really thought this was going to be a bigger card than it was, but sadly it just dropped off. It did not impress me. I think being a legend held it back way too much. Yeah, that was probably my biggest miss of the year, because I thought this card was going to be a staple in Rakdos and Niv to Light. But yeah, Final Fantasy A+, this was definitely one of the best decks, I think, of the year. Right, into space we go, into the Edge of Eternities. This set was also kind of light on multicolored cards for Niv, but I very much enjoyed the set. I think the Lander token themes was cool. I think they did stationing as a very cool mechanic. The art slapped in this set. It was absolutely amazing. But if I had to pick here the top card, I think everyone already knows if you watch my gameplay what it is. It's going to be my Biotech Specialist. I was struggling for so long for Gruul cards, and this one just landed in my lap, and I was like, wow, it's fixing, but also it also revitalized my love for Widespread Thievery. That was a bit of an experiment that I've dropped off now, but demoted it to best of one play. But yeah, Biotech 100% was an absolute slam dunk here, and it's something I think you should probably look at for more cards. But all in all, I think my biggest miss in this set, or the one I'm think we should probably maybe consider, or think is going to have more effects going forward in the future, might actually just be the Singularity Rupture. A board wipe that mills half of a player's library is... I feel like this has legs. Like, there is enough... Like, literally, this support for, like, a mill strategy here. I think it could see play in Niv. But ultimately, 6 mana is just not worth it a lot of the time. But Edge of Eternities is... Yeah, this is my A- set. This was close to one of my absolute favorites. I really enjoyed playing this year. Oh, baby. Alright, we got to talk about Spider-Man or Through the Omen Paths. Yeah, so I'm automatically going to give this set an F because of Through the Omen Paths. I do not like the disparity between paper and digital, and the fact that we're going to have it again next year with Marvel. Combine that with the fact that this set was like... This set sucked, honestly. There was so many multicolored cards, and there was cool cards I enjoyed playing, but I did not feel this set didn't click with me at all. But it did have some cool cards. So the big one I've got to shout out here is Cavero the Mind-Bitten. He has made it into the main deck. Superior Spider-Man. 100% love the versatility of him. I love that he can reanimate a Niv if we need another Niv trigger. I love that he can steal stuff. There was a game recently where an opponent had a reanimator strategy and they dumped their big Valgavoth, and I was like, cool, Cavero turned into a Valgavoth. He was a very cool card. Also, Symbiote Spider-Man or Skivrix the Augmenter. I feel like this card needs to be more explored. I feel that's a pretty good inclusion. But honestly, I'm struggling to find much else in this set that I enjoyed. There were some cool cards, but it just... Nothing really clicked. Apart from that. And I'd say, yeah, those are my two favorites of the set. Both in Dimir. Moving along from that, and we'll go into our final set of the year, which is Avatar The Last Airbender. A Universe Beyond property I have no investment in. This set actually was really sick. I will be admitting here, my bias for this set comes entirely from the fact they brought back Allies. Allies was one of the first tribes that I played in Commander. One of my first really successful brews I made was 5-color Allies in Modern, and it took me to like second place in one of my first FNMs. I was really excited about it, so bringing back Allies really pushed this for me. The set itself, though, is very solid. I 100% think Earthbending is cracked, unironically, and should be explored more in general. So with that in mind, my top pick from this is Toph, the Hard-Headed Teacher. Earthbending on any land right now that has value, like Surveil lands or fetchy lands, not fetch lands because obviously they don't see play in Pioneer, but your Fabled Passages or anything that can get you stuff like that. Plus Toph's ability to get back a discarded card. She's so good. The fact that I misread her for the first 4 weeks she was out and thought that it was if you cast a non-creature spell, you Earthbend. But the fact that she's just you cast anything you Earthbend pushes her into the absolute pantheon here. She is probably one of the best cards I've seen in a while. And then if we talk about cards that definitely need to be explored more, I think would do pretty well. I think Aang the Swift Savior is one we should probably look at. I think airbending is the second most powerful mechanic in the set. I think flashing him into I think his versatility of being kind of like a slow spell queller slash a blink savior definitely is something that we should probably explore more of. Maybe also Professor Z, Anthropologist. I haven't played this card yet, but I have him in my ally commander deck that I recently remade, and I've been very impressed with his ability. He's basically a looter that can also buy back an instant of sorcery, so maybe he's something we should look at. But yeah, Avatar gets a solid B+ for me. And I'm going to probably eat it here, but I'm going to say it's B+ for one simple reason. I really enjoyed it, but I really enjoyed the tribes and I love the decks, but I don't have the connection to it. And also, the fact that they slammed allies back really had me excited, but I really think that it's another case of shoehorning in a theme to let people play the deck style. For example, I played allies in the standard queues for a bit of fun and realized, oh wait, this is literally just the Avatar deck. So I'm kind of worried now about what the next year's sets will reveal. We'll get to Marvel and they'll be like, hey, here's the hero deck and the villain deck with all the synergies in the deck to make you play that type. We'll go to Star Trek and they'll be like, here's the Federation deck, where there's a subtype of, Captain Picard, Federation Captain. I feel like this is what we're going to see moving forward, is we're going to see pre-constructed decks in every standard format. But that's a rant for another time. So overall, this was a really fun year for Niv and Gold cards. We had a lot of selection, obviously a lot of sets, probably too many if I'm honest. I haven't fully explored a lot of them. But I'm looking forward to next year, and I'm hopeful that Pioneer continues to survive as long as the community keeps playing it. So let me know what your favourite set was for the year, and what was your best Gold card.